Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here. I want to go through a guide for you guys to explain obelisks, the links to them, the benefits of each planet's obelisks, how they work with the Sundial, and all of that. So first it's going to be a general discussion about the linking of the obelisks, kind of how that goes, and then I'm going to break down each planet. So I've got timestamps on screen so you guys can choose if you want to jump to, be like, hey, I've got Mars, or do I want European Dead Zone, or Nessus, so you guys know what perks are available, what weapons are available, the benefits of leveling up each obelisk, so you guys can see which one may work best with your playstyle. Just a quick run through so you guys know, if you have a preference in playing Gambit, you're probably going to want to look at Tangled Shore. If you enjoy Crucible the most, you'll probably want to go look at Mars. European Dead Zone is going to be for your Vanguard strikes, and then Nessus is going to be more your Sundial and Menagerie, those seasonal activities. So, from that, we're going to start with the general linkage of the obelisks to the Sundial, the benefits of the link, and then also just kind of how you unlock these, if you haven't done that yet. So the obelisks themselves are on the 4 planets that I just said. Nessus, Tangled Shore, European Dead Zone, and Mars. They're pretty close to a landing zone. The way you get these things attuned so you can actually link them to the Sundial, you're going to need to go talk to Osiris. He's at that Sundial kind of NPC zone. Go talk with him. He'll give you a couple quests. They're usually pretty straightforward, like European Dead Zone was kill like 50 Cabal. If you finish them or get like a precision kill, you'll get some extra of the currency. Doesn't take very long. You need a total of 50. It goes pretty fast. If you're having trouble finding enemies, go find a lost sector that has those enemies in it. It'll go fairly quickly. So once you have your 50 of that currency, you'll come back to the obelisk, to the little receptacle in front of the obelisk. You'll dunk that. And then the second step of that is you're going to need to charge the obelisk with light. So all you're going to need to do at that point is get super kills, I think ability kills, pick up orbs of light. Best way to do that you're going to want to do it, one, is you're going to want to go find somewhere that has a rally flag, an incoming public event. So you go to the Trossland, drive over here to the outskirts, hit the rally flag. That's going to recharge your super, give you a free super. From there, my advice from whatever planet you're on, they all have them, find a lost sector, go into it, try and piss off as many enemies as you can, and then use that super to kill as many as you can. From there, once you do that, you can hop back out, find another public event if it's incoming, depending on what planet it's on. Some have more or less, and rinse and repeat. Another thing you're probably going to want to do is use weapons that you've got that have been masterworked. I'm on my Warlock, all my stuff's on my Titan, but anything that has been fully masterworked for a weapon is going to allow you with those multi-kills to be able to drop those orbs. So if you have a few more enemies, you don't have to worry about killing the boss. It's not going to probably be worth your time, but killing all the low-level enemies quickly with masterwork weapons, especially anything that you've got from ritual weapons or pinnacles, like your Edgewise or your 21% Delirium are really great ones. They have a lot of ammo. They're quick ones, and every 2 enemies that you kill quickly together drops an orb. That's a quick way to do it. So whether you use masterwork weapons, whether you use public events and supers and blow stuff away like that, that's really up to you. Once you get enough of the light charged up, you'll come back to the obelisk, finish that one up, and then you'll actually have it attuned so you can interact with it. It basically works like an NPC, all the 4 are the same. Once you have all 4 done, the major pick that you're going to have to choose for linking the obelisk to the Sundial is with relation to the weapons that you want to have access to when you either finish the Sundial or the weapon frames that you want to work on. Now, the link to the Sundial is something that you're probably not going to want to change all the time. It does take a little bit of currency. But I'm here on the European Dead Zone, for example, and if I link this obelisk to the Sundial, when I finish a Sundial activity run, beat the boss, go back to the middle, at the little interaction place, you're going to be able to pick from 2 weapons. If I have the European Dead Zone chosen, I have the Gallant Charge Fusion Rifle and the Infinite Paths 8 Pulse Rifle that I can just pick from. And if I leave this one linked to the Sundial, then if I do 100 Sundial runs, I'm going to pick between these 2 weapons 100 times. No change. Now, if you want to work for different weapons, all you have to do is come over here, reset the link, and then go to whatever obelisk you want to link to it. Once you've attuned it, activate it with the Sundial, so link it up, and then when you finish the Sundial, you'll be able to pick from the weapons that are tied to that specific obelisk. So that's the main reason why the obelisks have differentiations. You're going to have different perks, mods, weapons that you can work for, but the main key that are kind of separate, the rank of the obelisk is not going to matter. You'll notice I have rank 2 over here. I have another one that's at rank 11. The rank does not matter. You're always going to have the same 2 weapons from that obelisk available to link to the Sundial and get those as end of path rewards. Now, there are ways to have multiple obelisks linked to the Sundial. There are ways to get multiple drops at the end of the Sundial. I'll cover that as I go. But the main thing to know is there's two things that you want to consider when you're picking what Sundial or what Obelisk you want to work on. And it mainly ties into, as I was saying previously, what your general playstyle is like. Do you enjoy strikes? Then the European Dead Zone is probably the one you're going to work on for this perk right here. Every Obelisk has one little section right here just like this, and it's the Fractaline Extractor. Now, the Polarized Fractaline is the currency that you're going to use to level up the resonance rank of each Obelisk. They have perks and unlocks up to level 11. Anything beyond that, I wouldn't do anything until we know if there's some benefit to it, but I think at 11 you'll probably want to make sure you go to another Obelisk, so don't waste anything beyond 11. Don't try and get it to like rank 12, rank 13. I don't think it's going to do much for you, currently at least. You need 200 Polarized Fractaline to raise this thing one level. You have 4 Obelisks, you have 11 levels per, so you have 8,800 resonance, or 8,800 Polarized Fractaline that you're going to need in total. That may sound like a lot. Well, there's some benefits in other places to get that. One, and you can do these per character, so you can do these 3 times. Each Obelisk has 2 weekly bounties that will give you 100. So if you have 3 characters, and you do all 8 weekly bounties, that's 2,400 right there. And you're likely to get a few extra in all the other stuff that you do. But even if you just do the weekly bounties and nothing else, you will be able to max out these things in 4 weeks if you do it across 3 characters. If you do it on 1 character and grind stuff out, I'll show you how that works too. So remember, these weekly bounties are something you definitely want to do. Try and do them across all characters because they are a pretty guaranteed reward. Using a bow, defeat Cabal with precision final blows. I did every one of these bounties on 1 character yesterday, and I did 8 of them. So they take a little while. Some are like, kill Hive. Pretty straightforward. And there's some basic ones like this one. Using a bow, defeat Cabal with precision final blows. There was another one for another Obelisk that said just defeat Cabal. So what you could actually do on that one, choose a strike that is Cabal related, focused specifically. Work on that one, take a bow with you, see how many kills you get. You might get a decent amount of bow kills, you might not. But the nice thing is about the ones that are just general kills, it does seem to take account your teammates on a strike as well. So if it just says, just kill Hive, go to a Hive strike. If it says, get Hive with precision final blows, that one you might want to go to a Lost Sector 4 so you can sit there and pick them off one by one because you're the one who needs the precision kills. Get the basic kills first, but then if you need any more after that that you don't get the precision on, then go probably find a Lost Sector as opposed to trying to fight people in the chaos of a strike. So keep that in mind. This one says, using a scout rifle, rapidly defeat enemies in groups of 3 or more without reloading. All you want to do is try and find groups of small enemies. Quite a few places are going to work for that. One that works really well is going to be on Mars. Kick off Escalation Protocol. You've got a lot of Thrall. It doesn't even say precision. So basically one, high impact scout rifle shot to a Thrall is going to be pretty quick. So there are ways to get your scout rifle kills, and it's like, or if you're going to go run strikes or Gambit or do other things, just use a scout rifle. Try not to reload that often. Use the whole clip. Again, gather all these bounties up and then see which ones you can work on at the same time. That will benefit you well. So those bounties are everywhere. That will get you 800 Fractaline per character for the week. So the Fractaline, say if I had that 800 and I came into this one right here and I leveled it up, I could get it to level, I think it starts at 1, so I'd go like 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd be up to rank 5. Now, the other thing to make note of is going to be, as I said, the weapons and the playstyle that you have. So if you do enjoy strikes, European Dead Zone Obelisk is probably going to be the one that you're going to want to start with. And the reason I say start is because you have all season to work on this stuff, but the more of this currency that you can earn, the faster you can level them up. If you play a lot of strikes, this little perk right here is going to help you a ton. What it says is it's a chance to collect additional Polarized Fractaline when completing strikes. Now, it starts at a small, chance, and then at level 2 it increases it, and level 3 it increases it. Now, I'm not saying if you get to level 3, it's going to give you the Polarized Fractaline every time. It doesn't do that. I've played enough Crucible because I leveled up another one. It's not going to drop it every time, but it does increase the chance. It'll give you that full 100 drop as you go through and do those activities, as opposed to 50. And if you play a bunch of strikes, you're going to want to level this thing up so you can take advantage of that playtime, get the currency as you naturally do other things. So if it's European Dead Zone, you're going to get your Vanguard strikes buff from this one. If you enjoy Crucible matches, you're going to want to go work on the Mars Obelisk. If you enjoy Gambit, Gambit is your thing, you play in there a lot, you're working on Python right now, that's your main focus, I play Gambit all the time. Tangled, sure, that's going to be your thing. I don't think that's going to be a lot of people's priority, but it's there. And then, on top of that, you've got Nessus, which is going to be extra Fractaline from the Sundial, which you get 10 every run, but you need 8,800, so I don't think you want to do 880 runs. It's going to take way too damn long, but you get a chance at more every so often. And the extra Fractaline buff is going to be on Nessus, but also works for Menagerie. So you'll have a chance of that 50 to 100 from the seasonal activities like Sundial and Menagerie if you upgrade the Nessus one. They all have one of those to them. Now at this point, I'm going to break down each one of the obelisks. So again, I'll put the timestamps on screen. So if you guys do want to see those, you can jump to which one you want to. I'm going to break down the buffs, the weapons that you have access to, and then some of these mods and perks that we've got to go through. So if you have a preference of either one, click on it now. But if you want to walk through them all with me, here we go. So as we go through, each one on each planet is just going to have a bonus to precision shots, have a low chance to drop Dusklight shards. All it is just the planetary resource. Each obelisk is going to have one for that planet. Nessus will have the microphasic data lattice, I think. EDZ's got the Dusklight shards. That's pretty straightforward. Just when that thing unlocks, level it up, you'll get a little bit of extra planetary materials. No harm, no foul there. Now, your weapons that you have access to on each obelisk, the higher rank you get, notice I can't buy this weapon bounty yet until I get a higher rank. 2 of the weapon frames, or bounties, basically you finish the bounty, you're going to be able to get the weapon, are going to be the same ones that you have access to from the Sundial link. So as I was saying, in the European Dead Zone, you have the Fusion Rifle, Gallant Charge, and the Infinite Paths 8 Pulse Rifle. Those are the 2, when you link this thing to the Sundial, that I'm going to have access to getting a drop from. I can also, if I've leveled up all the obelisks, I can buy a weapon frame for 10 Fractaline. It's pretty cheap and a little bit of glimmer. Do the random objective it wants me to do, whether it's kill a whole bunch of things, get precision kills, kill Cabal, finish strikes with this thing. I don't know what they all are. They're random. But there's a lot of them. When you get done, you get a roll on the Pulse Rifle. So it's a nice way to be able to go through and get some options. Different rolls on the Pulse Rifle. Go for the God roll that you're looking for. The other option you can see is over here at rank 5. I've got an option for the Gallant Charge Fusion Rifle. Same thing. Buy the frame for the 10 Fractaline. And then you have a chance for that Fusion Rifle. Now, my advice is probably not to buy these weapon frames until you've spent all the Fractaline you need to level up all your obelisks. So I wouldn't go through and be like, oh, let me buy every weapon frame. Now, there was a weekly bounty where you need to do like 3 weapon frames. At that point, yeah, spend a little bit. You'll get some of it as you go, and it's going to be worth doing that. Per your character, you'll get a couple rolls anyway. Maybe one of them's the God roll. But if you don't have to do it for a weekly bounty, I would save the Fractaline currency until you're done leveling up all your obelisks. So here we got the Infinite 8 Paths. It's a Pulse Rifle, Infinite Paths 8. You got the Gallant Charge Fusion Rifle, and also the Last Perdition Pulse Rifle. So these are 3 options here. These are the weapon frames you have access to at the European Dead Zone as you level this thing up. Next, we've got the Obelisk Enhancements. So outside of your Fractaline and Dusklight Extractor, each one of these has a couple different perks. The one in the European Dead Zone has Time Loss Stasis. What it does, this one, at rank 6, it's a one-time unlock. It permanently increases the progression rate of time loss weapon frames by 10%. So say this thing says you need to kill 100 enemies. Well, guess what? It's going to go 10% faster for weapon frames, and it's any weapon frame, not just the ones from the European Dead Zone. Any weapon frame you pick up, it's going to go 10% faster. So that's a nice buff to have. That's cool. If you like farming weapon frames, especially later on, you like doing it that way, you've got plenty of currency, you don't need to go run the Sundial. That's a nice way to make those things go a little bit quicker. Now, also here at the European Dead Zone, you've got Temporal Slipstream 1, which permanently increases the quantity of rewards from the Sundial completions. When you finish a Sundial run, when you start out, you'll get to the end, whatever obelisk you have linked, say I have the European Dead Zone linked, I get to pick one weapon, either the Gallant Charge or the Infinite Paths 8. If I take this thing up to rank 11, what that's going to allow me to do is at the end, I'm going to be able to pull 2. So I could actually pull one of each. I could pull 2 fusion rifles. So if you're really hard pressed to try and get a god roll on something, this is going to serve you very, very well to be able to get multiple slot machine pulls at that specific weapon you're going for. Say the Infinite Paths 8 has this great roll of Feeding Frenzy and multi-kill clip, and it's a pulse rifle and it's got great range, and you just want that god roll. Well, every time you finish the Sundial, now you can get that twice instead of one time. So it's going to make your grind for that god roll a little bit quicker. There's also a seasonal thing, which I'll cover kind of just towards the end, that's going to benefit you even more towards the end of this. But I'll cover that just in that final step. So these are the two that you're going to get as you go. Rank 6 for the 10% faster frame, and you got rank 11 is the number of rewards you can pull from the Sundial. It's going to go up to 2, and I think this is on one other planet. Finally, we've got 3 mods. Now these are the new mods that are going to allow you to become charged with light, or they're related to this perk. And what this does is basically it's going to be a little buff on your screen that says you are charged with light. By getting multiple rapid precision final blows with linear fusion rifles or sniper rifle kills, you become charged with light. And it will stack. It stacks either like 2 or 3. It's not that much in the beginning, but you can actually get some mods that makes it higher. This one sounds a little more difficult. Also notice it's 1 energy cost. So if it does manage to happen, like you get a couple precision kills with snipers, you're going to get charged with light. Now, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's also a cheap energy cost, but you are going to give up 10 discipline for doing it. When you become charged with light, there are other mods I'll get to on other things, and there's other places to get them, where you can consume those charges with the light and get some type of benefit from it. So these are 3 different ways to become charged with light. At rank 3, you unlock this one for linear fusions and snipers. At rank 7, we've got become charged with light with rapidly defeating enemies with fusion rifles or shotguns. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm running around with a fusion rifle and there's a group of low-level enemies, I'm likely to get multiple enemies killed pretty quickly. Or a shotgun, just bam, 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 you're good to go. So this is one that you might actually have happen more often, especially quite frequently with fusions, going through low levels, kind of clearing through. That's a nice way to get multi-kills. As you can see, it costs 5 energy from a piece of armor, so it's harder to get activated, but it is one that you could probably see yourself doing quite a bit. Now, you'll notice this one also has a secondary perk. It says, you greatly increase the ready speed of fusion rifles, shotguns, submachine guns, and swords if you have at least 1 other arc mod socketed into this armor. Now, that arc mod could be arc resist, cost 1. It could be another weapon frame or something like that with reload speed for, say, machine guns. So that's going to be one of those. If you have an arc mod in there, and say it's a class item, it could even be something to where that arc mod goes along with a class item where you get some other benefit from it. So different mods, but if you have another arc mod in that armor piece, the same piece, so this and one other arc mod in there, you're going to get that secondary perk activated as well. It's kind of like a set bonus. They're actually kind of teasing some of this stuff. Alright, only thing about recording a long video, I did get kicked to orbit. So, sorry for the little edit there. So the final perk is going to be Blast Radius. Now, this one is become charged with light by rapidly defeating enemies with grenade launchers or rocket launchers. Now, this one's a little cheaper. This is going to cost you heavy ammo, so it's not going to always be there. But you also think about a rocket launcher is usually got a pretty good blast radius, especially if you have cluster bombs. Or grenade launcher, couple quick grenade launchers go out, group of enemies, you're going to get multi-kills, no time at all. So these are definitely ones you can use to get charged with light. Now there's other perks on different obelisks that I'll show you guys that are going to be ones that you can actually consume that charge of light for some benefit. But that pretty much wraps up the European Dead Zone. This is going to be your Vanguard Strike Focus Fractaline Extractor. More Fractaline from doing Vanguard Strikes. Apparently somebody is standing here in front of me. That's cute. What's up, Mr. Recluse? You've got your Last Perdition, your Infinite Path State, and your Gallant Charge Pulse Rifle. And also, this is one of the ones that's going to give you an additional reward from the end of the Sundial activity. So if you enjoy doing the Sundial, getting an extra roll from that one, this is also another thing to consider. Alright, so from here, let's go over to Tangled Shore, and let's talk about that one. Sometimes you'll have issues, by the way, interacting with the Obelisk on European Dead Zone. They know it's an issue, Bungie does, they're trying to get to it. I've had a couple things work for me. One, truly just going up to orbit. That's actually worked. Sometimes just literally reloading the zone. Coming here and clicking on it has worked, but sometimes that hasn't. Sometimes it's go to orbit. Other times, say you go to the sludge and then drive over and interact with it that way. Those are the 3 things I've tried. One eventually works. So if you have any issues interacting with the EDZ Obelisk, try one of those. Hopefully that helps. Alright, Guardians, so now we are at the Obelisk on the Tangled Shore. It's going to look very similar. You got multiple weapons, you got perks, you got enhancements, and you got mods. So let's go through these. First, if you link the Tangled Shore, you're going to have access to the Breach Light, which is a sidearm, and the Steel Feather Repeater, which people are digging on pretty much right now, so that's a pretty popular one. So those are the 2 that you're going to get a chance for a link. Again, 2 bounties on each one, and they change. They're not always going to be the same. This one wasn't 300 scoring last week. This one did repeat with the Fallen Captains and Sniper Rifle kills. If you need to know where to find Fallen Captains, I've got a video for that. You can look it up. So we'll go from the top. Your weapon frames, as I said, you've got the Steel Feather Repeater, which is an auto rifle, and you've got your Breach Light at rank 5, which is going to be a sidearm. You've also got access to the Black Scorpion 4 SR, which is a scout rifle. It's a fast firing. I think it's a 200 RPM. Not a bad scout rifle. With some random rolls, I could see this thing being quite a bit of fun. So as I said before, Tangled Shore Obelisk is going to be the one with your Gambit Fractaline Extractor. If you enjoy playing Gambit, you're going to want to level this one up, because this extractor, the more Gambit matches you play, is going to give you a higher chance for that Polarized Fractaline currency to drop. So if you really enjoy Gambit, Gambit is your thing, or you know you're going to be in there a lot, say you're grinding out like Delirium and you're going for an Infamy reset, and you got your Python to work on, and you're like, that's what my priority is going to be for like the next couple weeks. Put some of your currency into leveling up this Obelisk and make the time in Gambit more worthwhile. So it really depends, as I said, where you're going to be spending your time, what you want to level up first. You're eventually going to want them all, but at first, if you're going to focus on a certain activity a little bit more than others, try and put your currency spending of your resonance ranks into that Obelisk. Of course, you've got your spiral, your etheric spirals. That's just your planetary materials. Now we get to your enhancements. You get to Time Loss Stasis. This permanently increases the progression rate of Time Loss weapon frames by 10%. So if you get this one and EDZ, you're going to be going 20% faster on every weapon frame. It's going to be a good thing to have if you are working on some god rolls on some weapons. Doing each one 20% faster, it's never a bad thing. Now this one, it permanently increases the capacity of simultaneous Sundial links by 1. What that allows you to do is, say I had already linked the European Dead Zone, and then I unlock this one. It is rank 11, so it's going to take a minute to get there. But then I already had the European Dead Zone linked. I could also link the Tangled Shore to it as well, and then at the end of every Sundial run, I can pick from 4 weapons instead of 2. So there's a nice benefit of that to give you a little bit more variety as you're going through Sundial runs. If you're just trying to spend some time in there, get some drops to happen just at the end of each one. Say you're like, I'm not a fan of the weapon frames, I'd rather spend my time in the Sundial, the new seasonal activity. You have a chance of 4 drops to pick, 4 different things to pick from instead of 2. So if you did the European Dead Zone and you have a second pull, and then you linked this one up as well up to level 11, you could have a Steel Feather Repeater, and then you also could have an Infinite Paths 8 Pulse Rifle, and you could pull that every single run. 2 pulls with the option of 4 different options to pick from. You guys can see where this is going to kind of culminate towards the end of the season. When all this is done, your Sundial runs are going to be very, very beneficial. So that's at level 11. Your mods, now you guys can see these are the ones where you are charged with light. You regain a portion of your grenade while charged with light, so you have to do one of the previous things where you actually get the charge. But once you are charged with light, you regain a portion of your grenade energy when you use your grenade. It consumes 1 stack of your charge with light. So if I have a charge with light, or say I have 2, I throw a grenade out, I'm going to get some of that grenade energy back so it comes back quicker, and then I'm also going to be left with 1 charge. It doesn't use all of the stacks, it just consumes 1. This costs 4 energy. Goes on any Dawn armor, and you're going to be able to use that to kind of consume that charge. If you just like get a charge with light but you have no way to consume it, it's not going to benefit you. So you're going to want one of each of these, like get a charge, spend the charge. You're going to want both of those working at the same time so you can actually get the benefit from it. So that I've already got. At rank 7, this is kind of one of those more complex ones. While charged with light, regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee ability. So you actually have to have the ability fully useful. It can't just be like a punch. And again, this consumes 1 stack, but this also has that secondary perk thing going on. Now this takes 7 arc energy to use. Getting half of your melee energy back could be cool if you're running as a Titan with the little mini slam, or you've got a throwing knife that you want to just keep getting back over and over. And say you miss or you get a body shot, it's half back already. You guys see the benefits here. There's some builds that I could see people having fun with. Now what you're going to do on this one is, while surrounded by multiple enemies, defeating an enemy with a fusion rifle, shotgun, sidearm, or submachine gun adds ammo from that weapon to your reserves. So you guys remember that middle perk on the other piece where it was rapid fusion or shotgun kills will charge you with light? Well, guess what? If you're in the middle of a lot of enemies and you use your fusion rifle or shotgun paired with that other mod, you're going to get ammo added to that weapon. Adds ammo to your weapon to your reserves. So if you're surrounded and defeat an enemy, you're going to get more reserve ammo to keep getting that charge of light, and you can see that these actually will synergize really well. So if you're going for melee and shotgun, you're going to be close with that shotgunner fusion. You kill a couple enemies, you get charged. You punch them, you get half of that energy back. Shoot another couple, you get half of the energy back. You punch again, you get half the energy back. I could say that for a while, but you guys get where I'm going. So that's kind of where that build can work. Out here on the last one at rank 10, this one's a little crazier. You can see by putting this mod on, you will lose 10 strength, so keep that in mind. So this one's not going to help your melees, obviously, so try not to cross, negative your mods there. This one is going to be for PvE only, so you gain significant damage resistance against combatants, not guardians, so this is PvE only, when your shields are destroyed. You ever had your shield bar up top go away and then you have that like flash of red on your screen? That means you're down to just your health bar. At that point, if you have a charge with light, it's going to consume all stacks of that charge. The more stacks consumed, the longer the damage resistance lasts. So basically, if you're in a tough spot, you're playing a tough activity, if you throw this one on and you've got a charge with light that is active and you take some good chunk of damage, that last chunk of your health is going to make you harder to kill, and the more stacks you have, the longer that's going to last to help you survive in those tough situations. This is going to be one of those things that's going to help you with, like, maybe a flawless raid run, maybe the 980 Nightfall, things like that. This is going to keep you in those really tough spots where you almost die. This is going to be that thing that could save your butt, and it's only 2 energy, so it's not that expensive per se. And if you pair it with, a way to get some charges with light, this could actually be pretty cool too. So, quick recap for Tangled Shore. We've got the Steel Feather Repeater and the Breach Light. Those are your weapons for your Sundial Link. You've also got the weapon frame for Black Scorpion. You've got also another 10% for your Time Lost weapon frames. You've got another link, so simultaneously 2 links to the Sundial. And then you've got these mods out here, and again, your bonus to the Fractaline extractor is going to come from Gambit. And now let's go look at Mars. Alright, so we're at the Mars Obelisk. As you guys can see, I have maxed this thing out. So this is the first one I maxed out because I was working on a fair amount of Crucible. Again, it's up to you and your preference. But Mars is going to have your Fractaline extractor for Crucible. As you guys can see, increased chance to find additional polarized materials when completing Crucible matches. This is maximum upgrade. Doesn't happen all the time, but it does tend to be a little bit more. Again, you could go 3 or 4 matches without anything. You may get a couple with it. It doesn't happen that often, but if you're playing a lot of Crucible, you may as well max it out if that's where you're spending your time. You've also got your Seraphite extractor. This is your Mars planetary material. Your weapon frames are going to be the Martyr's Retribution. This is going to be a breach load grenade launcher, so it's an energy weapon. And this one is actually kind of cool because it basically throws out a grenade that works like a thermite grenade from a Titan. Where you shoot and it lands, it does a wave of fire in the direction where it lands straight in front of it. And it's able to actually go through enemies, go under shields, and things like that. So it's actually pretty fun and powerful. It has some cool perks that you can get on it. Definitely want to know some people are grinding out. This is one of the time lost weapons. The other one is going to be the Lion in the Sand. This is a linear fusion rifle. Pretty fast firing, pretty cool. These are both of the ones that you're going to have an option if you have the Sundial link from the Obelisk on Mars to your Sundial. You get these 2 as your chance at the end of a Sundial run. The other weapon is going to be Bygones. This is your Crucible Pulse Rifle. A lot of people tend to like this thing. Maybe it's fast firing. Maybe you've got a good rangefinder and, Rampage, Outlaw. Whatever your perks are on this one. This is a pretty popular weapon. So if you're looking for a good roll on your Bygones, this might be a good place for you to unlock this one so you can work on that weapon frame just while you're doing everything else that you're doing. So if you love your Bygones but you want just a little better weapon, again, this could steer you to work on the Mars Obelisk more than anything else. But as I said, Crucible is your main focus here, just because if you're spending time in Crucible, that's where I'm going. This is the first one I upgraded because I've been working on some PvP stuff. Enhancements, this is going to be one to where you can permanently increase the inventory capacity of time-lost weapon frames by 1. Now, last week there's one of these weekly bounties where you had to do 3 time-lost weapon frames. Well, I can only hold 2 at a time, so I had to finish 2 up, get one of them done, and then go back, find another one, and do that. The nice thing about this is I can hold 3 at a time, so I can do 3 at the same time. Now, I don't think you can buy multiple of these, but I could get 1, 2, 3 as I'm running around doing random stuff. That's 3 weapons I get just by doing whatever natural activity the objective requires. So this allows you to hold more weapon frames, pretty straightforward. This one is another one, permanently increases the quantity of rewards from the Sundial. So this is the second one that does this. So we had the one, I think it was on the European Dead Zone, where you had the increased rewards. This is the second one. So if you have the Mars and the European Dead Zone both on this one, every time you run the Sundial, you can pull 3 weapons. If you're going for a God roll, That's a lot of pulls. So 3 of the same weapon, it's kind of getting into menagerie territory where like 1 run gets you 3 of a roll. They're getting pretty close to flirting with that, so this is pretty viable if you're going for some god rolls that you can get a lot of chances at it. Finally, we've got our mods. We've got the first one is Heal Thyself. So again, these are all ones where you're going to consume a charge of light. While charged with light, grenade final blows heal you and consume 1 stack. So, and it doesn't say PvE, PvP. If you get a grenade kill, it's going to heal you, straight up. If you have a charge of light, that's the key. You have to have a charge of light, but if you get a grenade kill when you have that charge, it's going to heal you. If you're in that tough PvE spot, and somehow you're able to get the charge of light first, and you're like saving it, whatever it is, then if you have this one when you throw out a grenade and you're in a tough spot, that thing's going to heal you up, which might save your butt. Second one, this is again one of those with those secondary perks. While charged with light, defeating enemies with melee damage, so doesn't have to be an ability, just anything including a punch, and swords will spawn 1 orb of light for your allies and consumes its charge of light. Now it says for your allies, I don't know if it's for you and your allies, I haven't quite tested that one yet, but spawning orbs from punches when you're charged with light, it's not a bad thing, especially again if you pair this up with close range things. You get a shotgun kill, you get a linear fusion kill. And then you're up there punching a whole bunch of stuff. Making orbs for your team is always beneficial, so everybody's got more supers. So again, this is the nice team synergy one. Here's another thing, and this is why if you have to melee stuff or get close, where this one works well. If you have another arc mod in that same piece of armor, you gain damage resistance against non-guardians, so not in PvP, while sprinting. Pretty straightforward. You're just harder to kill while running, and if you need to get melee and sword kills, guess what? You actually have a better chance of doing that now. So pairing this with any other arc mod is going to make that better. Final one here, this is going to drop 10 intellect off of your stats. This one, while charged with light, defeating combatants with void damage grants a chance to drop special ammo. Straight up. So this one's also going to be a pretty one to consider, as a pretty good one, as I said, with the shotgun fusion. Those are special. Grenade launchers was another one as well. And this could work with grenade launchers if you're using something like, oh, I don't know, this, for example, that uses energy. Or anything, or say like Mountaintop. I know a lot of people have that one. Defeating combatants with void damage grants a chance to drop special ammo. So you're going to want to run some weapon that has void or a subclass that has void. It's a chance to drop it. It's going to consume all the stacks you have, whether it's 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4, I forget what the max is. The higher the stacks you have, the higher chance at gaining more ammo. So if you're running around using abilities, using void, say you got a void pulse rifle and you've got a sniper rifle that you want to get more ammo for frequently, then you have a better chance by doing this. Like if you get that void kill, say it's a void something, and then you pair this up. You guys can see where these are going. I don't need to go full detail. But this is a way, again, if you build around this like pair of mods that you can use, you can get special ammo dropping pretty frequently, using up that charge of light often, especially if you're getting a lot of kills from it. So, again, these are very specific mods. I don't know if they're only going to stay around for Dawning Armor, if they're going to go away at the end. Still not sure. These are mods that we're buying and unlocking, so I don't know if these are ones that are going to last forever with this seasonal armor, if they're going to be ones that stay around, if you only have this armor, or if next season they're obsolete. I'm not entirely sure. So if mod components are a slim resource for you, remember you don't have to buy all of these things, but if you do come buy mod components, you have a lot of gunsmith materials to spend. I'm okay on the mod components, but if you're a newer player, don't feel forced. Try and kind of plan a build that works for your playstyle and only get the mods that are going to help you. Don't buy them all just to buy them all. You can unlock them with the level, but don't buy them all unless you really find a use for them for your type of playstyle. So that pretty much is Mars. Remember, it is the Crucible Fractaline Extractor. You've got the Martyr's Retribution. That's the grenade launcher. You got the Linear Fusion Rifle and the Bygone's Pulse. You've got your time loss weapon frame capacity by 1, and you've also got the quantity of rewards from the Sundial with your mods out there. Sundial link is the grenade launcher and the linear only. Final one, let's head to Nessus. Alright Guardians, finally the Nessus Obelisk is the last one to talk about. We'll start with the perks. You got your Microphasic Data Lattice, your Nessus Planetary Material, and this is the one, as I said, additional Polarized Fractaline when completing the Sundial or Menagerie. This is not a bad one. If you want to go for those, you know, just unlock each one so you can choose your link, and you want to run the Sundial a lot just to get those, you know, weapon drops at the end of each Sundial run, this could be the first one you unlock. It's really up to you, but the Sundial and Menagerie both are going to have a chance to drop more Fractaline if you level this one up. Remember, there's 3 ranks to this one. Max one is at the top. Your weapon choices are the Jack King, Queen King 3, This is a hand cannon. This is one of the Mercury weapons. Some people have said they kind of dig this weapon. It didn't get a lot of love, but if you get a chance at some random rolls on this one, I think it has potential, with some people have enjoyed the static roll that's on it, to be a potentially quite cool weapon. So definitely want to consider there. The ones from your Sundial link, if you link this thing up to the Sundial, are going to be as follows. You've got the Patron of Lost Causes. This is the Scout Rifle. And then you've also got the Traveler's Judgment 5. This is a sidearm. Again, these will have the random objectives on them. Whatever you need to do to finish them, you're good. And if you link the Sundial, you get a chance to pick between either of those two weapons every Sundial run. Obelisk enhancements. So let's see, time loss capacity. Permanently increase the inventory of time loss weapon frames by 1. So now your time loss weapon frames would be up to 4. So that's 4 that you could hold at the same time. Pretty cool. And then over here, we've got the permanently increase the progression rate of time loss weapon frames by 25%. Now, if we go back and we consider the other ones that we've looked at, you've got 10% on Tangled Shore. You've got 10% on the European Dead Zone. And then here you've got 25%. So we're talking about 45% faster. Literally half as fast. That's pretty damn quick. So say, for example, you can get one of these like scout rifles. You go into the Sundial. You're working on scout rifle objective or whatever. Maybe you can do it in there too. You finish the bounty and you can pull that scout rifle 3 times when you've maxed out all these. You're getting like 4 weapons every time you do this, which is ridiculously fast. You're going to be able to work towards that god roll. Obviously, RNG's got a whole lot of options in there, but you can get a lot closer to that god roll a lot quicker. So that's going to help for sure. So 25% weapon, faster progress on what time loss weapon frames. That's pretty nice. Your mods here are going to be things that are going to give you benefits related to Charge with Light. They're not going to give it to you. They're not going to charge you or consume it. You'll see. They're just kind of benefits. So when you become Charged with Light, this would be on a second piece of armor, nearby allies also become Charged with Light if they are not already. This also gives you plus 20 mobility if you put another arc mod on that piece of armor. So this is a way, say if you put a mobility mod on there, you throw this on there, and then, now this is going to take a lot of energy probably to do, because that would be up to 7, and then you put an arc resistance on there. That's probably the cheapest one I could think of for arc. You're getting like 30 mobility. That's kind of crazy. So this one can be one of those, and it doesn't say anything about PvE or PvP. I don't know if the Charge with Light works in PvP. Some of these perks read that it may not, but some of it may still. I'll have to test that more once I get into that. That'll be a separate video. Charged Up allows for an additional stack of Charged with Light. That's actually kind of a big deal, because it's not always easy to get the charges, but if you do get a couple like grenade launchers into a giant group of thrall and you can get like 3 in one quick setting, that'd be nice instead of being capped out whatever it is. I think it's pretty small. I haven't been able to stack it all that much, so I need to try that one for sure. But having another stack that you can use to make some of those other consumables more powerful, make that damage resistance last longer or higher chance of that special ammo, again, there's benefits to having more stacks. And then finally out here, this is going to be a minus 10 recovery. Gain an extra stack of Charge with Light for every stack you gain. If you are enjoying the Charge with Light benefit in that like mod combination, I feel like this is kind of a must, because every time you get a stack, you get double every single time, no matter what you do. That's just like hella good. So even if you are, say this one, it's harder to get those multi-kills with a sniper rifle, but you do want to stack your Charge with Light. Well, if you do pull out your sniper rifle, shoot a couple like low-level enemies in the head, at least you know when you do that, you get that double, and then you can take advantage of that benefit, even if it's a little harder to come by. So this gives you a little benefit. You are going to give up some recovery for this one, so there's going to be some, you know, counterbalancing of armor and mods and things like that to make that worth it. But a double stack every time, this one is kind of a huge one for this whole Charge with Light thing. So that one is one definitely to consider. It's going to take a little while to max this one out. Of course, it's at rank 10. But if you do, definitely can see some major benefits to this one. And that is pretty much all of the obelisks. I want to cover one more thing on the season pass, just to consider all these time loss weapon frames, so you guys know kind of where the end game of the season is going to be. Alright, Guardians, I'm level 28. I've played a pretty good amount in this, first week-ish or so, but we have 82 days left in the season, so don't feel like you're forced to get there. And this is why building towards the end of the season, again, don't feel forced, but know this is something you can look forward to. All these time-loss weapon frames, all these things where you can get multiple pulls at the Sundial for these weapons are going to have some cool benefits. But there's one more addition in here. Time-Lost Arsenal permanently unlocks access to time-loss weapons that contain an alternate final perk. Now, I don't know if it's just the time lost weapon frames, or if it's every time lost weapon pull that you get from the Sundial. But getting to rank 92, and I think it was Chevy out there who probably grinded the hell out of this thing first. Shout out to that man for putting in some no-lifing. The way this works, if you pull up any weapon, this final perk is always just one. No matter what the gun is, whether it's Duke, whether it's, you know, pull perfect here, this is usually one perk. What that is basically saying, any of those time lost weapons, once you get to rank 92, are going to have two options here. This is usually one of the most important things when it comes to the perk tree, because that is some of the powerful ones. It's got multi-kill clip, it's got your outlaw, it's got your rampage sometimes. So some of the major ones are in this last tree, and every roll having two options is going to give you an even like 50% higher chance to get closer to that god roll, because you're going to get two choices at the end. One of those may be the god roll that you're looking for. So I wanted to remind everybody of that one as well, just because that's one of those things that could really, really benefit you if you are going for god rolls throughout this season. So that is the Sundials and the Obelisk, and the links and the weapons and the perks and the mods, all that you can get. I know this was a lengthy video. I'm not denying that. If you guys stuck with me, thank you guys for enjoying it. I wanted to break down everything so you can really see the benefits of each one, so you know where to start spending that currency first. You know, if I want to get this thing up, if I'm going to go spend some time in the Sundial, I might go work on getting 50 more from one of these bounties on another character. And then if I go spend some time in the Sundial, at least I know I'll be getting a chance at some more Fractaline from spending time in the Sundial. So wherever you're going to spend your time, find the Obelisk that's going to help you first. Remember, rank 11 is all you need to rank these things up to now. Don't go to trying 12 and 13 until we know more about that. And I don't even know if there is a benefit from 13 and 14. But I was at 11 on another one. I could still spend more, so I don't want to go over the top until all of them are 11. Also know you can spend smaller chunks if you kind of get out of sync on one of these things. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's long and lengthy, but thank you guys for sticking with this one. If you did, you guys can find me on Twitch and Twitter. It's Ebontis on both of those. We've got the podcast. That's going to be on Friday. I'm going to be out for a fair amount of Christmas, but I'm going to try and have a couple of videos staggered throughout to give you guys a couple other things to look at. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be covering some other things. We've got the Dawning going on for a month as well. So we've got recipes and farming of all of that stuff too. So thank you guys very much. Enjoy and have yourself an awesome one. I will see you guys soon. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. We're climbing to 50K. You guys have been so supportive. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave a comment, all those great things. It all helps support the channel and the videos. So enjoy your time in Destiny, figure out what's going to benefit you the most, and go get yourself some cool weapons. You got a lot of options and ways to do that. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.